but then I realized probably it will be a good idea to start making a series of videos where I go through, buy a new project, discuss the challenges with the car, why it's running, why it's not running, what are the issues it's having, and then go through a complete steps of diagnosis. The PCM fault is P045C EGR B control circuit low. So this is the one on the left, I believe. So now it is time to tackle the EGRs. Before I discuss what I'm planning to do with it, I'll just discuss the history of these EGRs with these territories. So the car comes with two EGRs, the one on the right and the one on the left. So far I have seen 4 EGR fail on different territories, diesels, and for some reason all of them they were on the left, and this one also has a 45C code which refers to BEGR, the one over there. So if I go for a brand new EGR, the cost is exuberant. It's around $2,000 or something the last time I checked on eBay. The used EGRs, they cost around $200, 150, 200. Sometimes you're able to get them for $100 if you're lucky, but still the process of changing is quite complicated. It's not that easy. Usually I'll take out the whole EGR with cooler assembly, remove the coolant, and then replace it and put it back. You can see it in one of my previous videos, the one I did on Blue territory. In this particular case, what I'll do is something that I've developed is that instead of replacing the EGR, I'll just remap the PCM, delete the EGRs from over there. This way no more failures from EGRs, because they do tend to fail. That makes the car a bit unreliable. I'm not gonna show the complete process of PCM remapping. This is something that if you guys want to do and try it on home, it may cause some complications. So, and I'm not really into the legality of this stuff, plus the disclaimers that it can go bad for you. So it has been working for me. I will do it. I'll show you a few things how I do it, but I will not go through the complete process. Well, here's the fun stuff. Somebody already tried to blank it. In fact, it's blanked over here. Another blanking plate, and this one seems to be quite stuck in there. Here it is. So I thought about it, and that if the EGRs were using blanking plates, then why the PCM was not throwing the insufficient airflow error. There are a couple of techniques that people use to disable those EGRs, and all of these techniques have some backdraws. For example, in case of blanking them off directly, one of the issue with this is that since the PCM will not see any airflow, it will throw out a check engine light, and the car will again be in limp mode, so you're not gaining anything out of it. The only thing that you can gain is that the exhaust flow will not go towards the engine. That's it. To bypass it, sometime what people would do is they'll use some sort of a resistor over here, because this one is apparently the temperature sensor and the mass airflow sensor. I read about it, I'm not 100% sure, but sometimes people would do is that they'll just put a resistor over here with the with a temperature wire that would simulate a negative or very cold environment. In that case, the EGR will not work. The engine will not use EGR at all. So in that case, you do not need a blanking plate. In both of these approaches, where you use a blanking plate and where you just use that one with the resistor or with the temperature, in both cases, a failure of EGR is still possible. For example, in this particular condition where this particular EGR has failed, the PCM is detected because there's that connector cable connected directly to EGR. So as soon as it detects that there's a malfunction with the motor or something, it will throw out the check engine light. So the good thing that it did was that it prevented any carbon buildup over there in the engine, and I think there's no downside to it. But that brings us to the question that why, even with the plates, and it looks like these plates have been here for a long time, so why did the presence of these plates did not put the car in the limp mode? And I think I have the answer, and the answer to that is the width of this plate. So the person who put it in there did not purchase it off eBay. He just concocted something by himself. But even with what he tried to do, he actually achieved a secondary objective, and that was letting a bit of air into engine from this exhaust flow. So let me show you how it works. So this is the front of the EGR pipe, and when it is connected with the engine, it does not, when it is connected to the EGR, it does not make a perfect seal, and a few pinhole leaks are in there, which means that when the engine tries to open EGR, there is a bit of air that passes through these holes because it's not perfectly a flat surface. See, it's something that's put on top of the original gasket. Same goes for this one, which means that when two of these EGRs are open at the same time, a little bit of air would seep through, and that would be fresh air. So this was another great idea. So if you guys want to do it, that's a cheap way of fooling. That's a cheap way of actually fooling the PCM, and also preventing the carbon buildup without any check engine light. That you can make something like this. This will let a bit of air in when the PCM wants to get some air from EGR. It will also, regardless of whether it wants it from the EGR or no, but usually it's in the positive pressure is inside the manifold, which means that the air may seep out from here but will not get in from here. The only time it will get in is probably when the engine is starting, when it starts, and in the initial cycle when the EGRs are opened, the engine will look for some sort of air coming from here. I might probably throw in some brake cleaner and brake cleaner fluid and see if it goes in there. If it goes in there, it means that it is open, so I have to close it. If it just stays there and dries out after some time, then it's closed. Same goes for that one. And while I was doing that, I realized something else. Look at this. You see that yellow mark over there? This is an indication that it was a used part. It was a used part bought from wreckers and put in this car. So this is not the first time this EGR failed. And that might be the original one, because I can't see any marking on it. So for some reason only these EGRs fail. So I think I know what I want to do. This is my other blue territory, and what I did with this one was that I put a blanking plate over here and a blanking plate over here, so there's no EGR pipe going from here to here, and the PCM is remapped. So this is the exact same setup that I'm going to run on the red territory. For now, I'm just going to put the blanking plates back in, put the pipes back in, and order these blanking plates. And I think it costs around $25-30 on eBay. So when the car is up and running, by that time we'll have these blanking kits, and I'll put them in. I managed to put in one of the pipes back in. The other one, I lost the gasket. It fell down somewhere and I can't fish it out now. So what I'll do is just I'll put some water in here. I'm not going to waste my brake fluid. and then I'll see if it leaks. If it does not leak, good enough. Otherwise I'll try to just soak it up with some cloth, or just ignore it. It will dry it off by itself. So I did put in 100 ml of water, and it's disappearing somewhere. Don't know what it is. I think that the sparks, the sparkles you're seeing, this is a residue of water. So it's disappearing somewhere, which leads me to believe that it's open. It did not. I wasn't totally expecting it to be really tight, but I was expecting it to be a bit close, so that the water will take some time seeping through. But it looks like it's totally open. So yeah, I'll just do the remap, and then I'll just wait for that kit before I can actually drive it. So now I've hooked on my J2534 box over to my OBD1 port on one end, and on the other end I've connected it with my laptop. Let's go and read the DTCs. So it will tell us that these are the 3 DTCs stored. So 045C B0405. So what I did was that I unplugged both the EGRs, because when we do a PCM, when we do an EGR delete from a PCM, the way I do it, these EGRs need to be unhooked. If they are still hooked, then they will start participating and sending some data to PCM, which it will not recognize, and it will throw a check engine light again for something that's coming from ABS. So anyways, regardless of that, let's go and read the PCM. Current battery voltage is 12.209. Turn off all electrical load before continuing. So let's just switch off the DVD player that I have. Okay, switched off now. Okay, so it goes into blank mode. The cluster is off. So it's on back again. In the meanwhile, it's doing its thing. It's reading it. Operation completed successfully. Please turn ignition to off. Ignition switched off. Click OK. And now I can save it somewhere. In the meanwhile, what I'll do is I'll just disconnect it from over here, so that the complete collection is broken. Now I'll try to restart it. Start the car and see if it is working fine. So it started fine, which means that no damage was done while reading the PCM. So now the plan is I'll just save the file somewhere and then modify it, and then I'll come back and write it up. I'll show you when I'm writing it. It's the next day now. I edited the file overnight and I'm ready to write. So there's a check engine light I've switched on. I'm not gonna hook up an extra spare power supply to my battery because it was freshly charged, so I'm pretty sure it has enough juice to take us through PCM writing, and honestly it's not going to take much time. So this is my new file that I've loaded. Checksums are correct. Continue. Yes. Only calibration will be written. Be sure to check if it matches current ECU software. Okay. Battery voltage 12. Please turn off all electrical loads before continuing. I already did, but let's see. Okay. I can't do anything about this motor. It's not going to turn off, so we'll just go. Oh, it did. That's good. Please turn ignition on to start writing. Ignition is on, so let's go. Okay, it's doing something. Erasing area 1-2 seconds. Yeah, lights are coming and going on the cluster. It's not going to take much time. completion. Okay, it says range. Over here it says operation successfully completed, please turn ignition switch to off. I did, and now I'll click OK. Okay, minimize. So now ignition switch is off. Let's start it. So there shouldn't be any errors now. ABS is fixed, EGRs are deleted, so it should be happy. So what I'll do now is I'll just go ahead and do a computer scan and see if it still finds anything. So I'm just running a live scan on the car, and it did not detect anything with the PCM or ABS, which is really encouraging. But there are lots of faults showing up with all these modules, so we have to see what they are. So it says okay, the ACM or audio control module has lost communication with instrument cluster panel. The body electronic module lost communication with PCM, lost communication with instrument cluster. Maybe this was when it was trying to rewrite the PCM, so it would make sense to delete everything and try again. Let's do quick erase. No faults, no faults. So the only thing that I'm expecting is should be with somewhere with HVIC. It shouldn't, because the problem here is it says pass, but I know it's bad because there's a motor in there. Apparently from the looks of it, it seems like if it's intermittent, because sometimes it detects it and sometimes it doesn't, but so far there's nothing. Let's just start the car and rerun the scan, so that if there is a new issue it should be able to detect. Should be something. No, nothing. It means that this issue is intermittent. The one with the servo motor that's under the dashboard, that's off. Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Escape. So yeah, it seems it's all good. So let's go for a test drive. It's low on fuel and it's throwing that notification for low fuel. So let's just go for a test drive, put some air in the tires, and see if we find any other issue with this car. Okay, so the car is driving nicely. I switched on the air con, it's also working. The two things that I noticed was, first of all, is that my brakes aren't really responsive in a sense that I do have some play in my brake pedal, which means that I have to bleed the air from the rest of the three wheels as well, just to make sure that the brakes are really solid. So they are working even with one wheel bled, but yeah, I have to bleed the other wheels too. The second problem is that the car lacks acceleration. So look at the economy when I try to accelerate, right? Especially going uphill. Now it's going downhill. Let me stop it somewhere, and then see, I'm just pushing the pedal and it's not going anywhere. It says 50 or something odd kind of liters per 100 and still not going anywhere. So it seems like the air fuel mixture is not optimum. So what I believe is that the EGR on the left, which we checked, and it seemed like it was quite open because the water was going there without any issues. So there is a chance that the exhaust gases are flowing directly into the combustion chamber, and it is too much of unmetered air for the PCM. That's the story so far. What I'll do is I'll just wait for, I've already placed an order for the EGR plates, the block of plates. So I'll just wait for those to come and then I'll put it in. In the meanwhile, I'll bleed the brakes, and if I can if I can temporarily block it just to check my theory, or see maybe if there's a connector loose somewhere, or maybe an air duct, or I don't know, probably a charged air ductway is unplugged. I'll just look for it, put it on ramps, and see if we can look for something from underneath and find something. So this is just an update to what I said that I will be doing. So I've just done my brakes, bled all 3 of them, the rest of the 3 ones, and I came back, actually removed the under tray that was into the car, and I found the missing gasket along with this metallic piece that was originally there. I was just trying to blank it just to make sure that my suspicion is valid, and I'm gonna try it. But this is what I found. I'm not sure whether you guys can see it, but all this area is totally black. This wasn't there before, so this actually validates my theory that either the boost was leaking from here or the exhaust was leaking from over here, and this is badly leaking. So this black smoke is evidence that the gas was coming out of over here, so it should fix my issue once I put the blanking plate in. So just an update on putting the blanking plate and then driving around. It drives absolutely beautifully, goes like a bullet.